Just a quick background before we get started on Neighborhood Housing Services. Neighborhood Housing Services is we're the oldest and largest nonprofit housing and community development organization in the city of Chicago. We've been around for more than 37 years now, and sort of our tagline is that we help people buy, fix, and keep homes, particularly low to moderate income homeowners on the west and south side of Chicago. We're an affordable lender. We do home ownership counseling. We do real estate development. And then we have a bunch of neighborhood strategy programs, one of which is the Greystone initiative and some of these other cultural programs as well. This is what NHS calls our theory of neighborhood change, that there are certain leverage points in neighborhoods that you can work on to improve them, and they include the image of the neighborhood, what people think internally and externally of the neighborhood. They include the market. Specifically, in our case, we focus on the housing market, but it also includes the commercial market, physical conditions, everything from both the look and condition of homes to the look and condition of blocks, and then also neighborhood self-management. What is a resident's capacity for sort of managing their neighborhood, managing their blocks, and sort of starting to deal with problems? The focus of this conversation is going to be all around image. Externally, Lawndale is often talked about as a dangerous, drug-infested, poor neighborhood. We have some particular challenges. We have population loss in Chicago, a rising vacant buildings, and we have rising issues of crime. And they are real problems, but they are only one piece of the neighborhood story, one piece of the neighborhood, and sort of highlighting the fact that these are still places where people live, places with still a vital history, places with people still take care of their blocks and still take care of their homes becomes a very important part of the work that we do. So we focus first on telling the stories of Greystones and telling neighborhood stories. Where do these Greystones come from? How are they tied to the communities that built them? But more importantly, we go beyond the builders. Over the past 6 years, I think we've talked to more than 10,000 people. We talk about neighborhoods and we talk about Greystones, and we've even gone nationally and internationally. So this is a big deal, and people are really interested in it. Greystones matter because they are an infrastructure of memory. The buildings themselves represent a way of having this conversation about where the neighborhood is going, what has changed, what has happened, and telling a broader story. People don't necessarily see the built environment as this great place to tell stories, or they feel ashamed almost to tell their stories. And we practically have to sort of draw them out to get them to talk about the community because they're shy about saying, oh, this is actually, things are pretty good, because they've always been told that things are bad. Part of this was a project that we actually did with the National Trust for Historic Preservation. We created these great Greystone design guidelines, and then we launched the Chicago Vintage Home Series. We've done more than 100 workshops serving at least a few thousand people around the city of Chicago. We have helped more than 200 Greystone owners buy, fix, or keep their buildings around the city of Chicago, but particularly on the west side. And this represents an investment of more than $6 million of NHS lending and grant resources. One new program we'll be launching this year is this What is Your Greystone program. We're going to launch this program. It's going to focus on people who are doing stuff with buildings, or narratives that really sort of are important to part of Chicago, or particular buildings that may be at risk to call attention to them. We also get a lot of questions from people about, how do I do this? Or I have this building and there's so much. I mean, I put this picture in here because I think people sometimes feel this way. We said, okay, we're going to go beyond workshops and other technical assistance, and we're going to actually start to roll out some form of consulting program. We essentially go through and say, let's help you think through this. Let's help you prioritize things, particularly around the historic and green. This all starts essentially with the K-Town area of North Lawndale. And it is sort of this incredible microcosm of Chicago architecture that really can't be found anywhere else in the city. The J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation had given us some money to do some Greystone rehab projects in the neighborhood, so we had sort of a connection in the community. We were approached by the Chicago field office of the National Trust to say, hey, we have this idea that we call Cornerstones of Community. We want to sort of try to bring some of the resources, the traditional resources of historic preservation, particularly historic districts and historic tax incentives to underserved communities. Ultimately, we got this 16 square block area listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So round two of Cornerstones of Community projects focused on a series of smaller projects that we could then use related to this issue of community identity. And we did it in 5 neighborhoods. Lawndale got back into the mix, particularly with K-Town. We did another project in Back of the Yards. We did another project in North Pullman. And then we have 2 ongoing projects, one in West Humboldt and one in Auburn Gresham. So that's the story. If you've got questions, comments, critiques, you can, and you don't want to do them here, feel free to contact me.